What's up, everybody? Evidently, I am not allowed to talk about anything that happened between the years 1920 and 1944 on this information sharing platform. But just so you know, I spent a lot of time trying to bring you guys two videos, and they ain't gonna let either one of them fly. You're only allowed to exalt to the highest order the 0.76% of a certain nation that got every one of their major cities razed to the ground during that time. So here's your consolation video. Anybody heard about the eclipse coming up? Anybody else sick of hearing about the eclipse before it even gets here? Well, it's not a laughing matter because this is it, guys. You don't even realize what all's going on with this eclipse, but I'll try to summarize it in the time it takes to play this time lapse. So the National Guard has been deployed and local residents are being urged to stock up on food and water and make sure your cell phones are charged. They know that this is coming because, it's like a week before the red heifer sacrifice that no one has actually confirmed. Also, the polar vortex is spinning backwards now. The East Coast is absolutely paralyzed because of the bridge incident, and there's nothing coming in or out. So I've heard there's definitely going to be some starvation going on. The Devil Comet may be visible during this event, which is actually Nibiru, and what they're not telling you is this is going to be 3 days of darkness. I've heard that there's a movie called The Day of the Comet where everybody that saw the comet turned to dust, and the survivors were turned into zombies, so some predictive programming going on about this. If you look at the path of the shadow over the past 3 eclipses, it actually forms the first and last letter of the Hebrew alphabet, so the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. This is God's sign for us to repent. They're also going to be turning CERN on at this time, which, since there's an eclipse on the opposite side of the world, this will open up a portal to other dimensions. Meanwhile, NASA's going to be sending rockets up. Here's the path of totality, which unfortunately isn't the best resolution. But it starts out in Jonah, Texas, like Jonah in the well from the Bible. And along the path are 9 towns that are named Nineveh. And evidently there's some passage about that. I couldn't find it. But what I've heard about it is the writers of the Bible were experts in astronomy. So they coded this event into the Bible as a warning to everybody. And those members of secret organizations, well, they named all the towns, knowing that this would start in Jonah, Texas, and travel through 9 different towns called Nineveh. And it definitely has nothing to do with the fact that American towns were founded by Christian Protestants, and that in Arkansas alone, there are 90 towns with biblical names. So I regret to inform you guys, but this is the end of the world. We only have a week left. Okay, not the best April Fool's Day joke, but, I spent all weekend working on other videos. Let's see, what was the last end of the world, according to the internet, the emergency broadcast system? I'll tell you what, if the world ends on the 8th, then I'll quit YouTube. I won't make any more videos. I know that's a bold position to take, but I'm willing to lay my reputation on the line. You know what happens when you take a group of people that are still as superstitious as medieval peasants, and you combine that with the ability to monetize any situation that's going on by making videos about it? Well, then you get a lot of videos like this. My biggest concern is whether the skies will be clear enough to be able to see it where I'm at. I am right in the path of totality, and it's springtime. This is looking better because they were calling for rain that day. It keeps changing. But I'm really hoping that we have some clear skies around here to be able to see the awesomeness here. I actually heard one person saying, why are they warning people to stock up? Why are they, we didn't have any warning during the 2017 eclipse. We were just stuck in traffic for 6 hours trying to get away from the lake. Do you think you might have just answered your own question there? I know our officials are fundamentally incompetent, but in 2017, everybody from 3 to 4 hours away on each side of the path of totality all funneled into all the little towns that aren't used to all the extra people there to watch the eclipse, and people were stuck in traffic for 6 hours. You think they might have used that event to try to plan ahead a little bit better this time? Just so you guys know, there are up to 5 total solar eclipses every year. Rich kids fly all around the world and have parties at these events when they occur. But because of all of those things I listed at the beginning, those with eyes to see know that this is the final judgment. But honestly, this is a perfect example of how a bunch of people can take random facts and throw them all together to support an idea when in fact they're just random facts. Random facts don't equal a truth. Looking at you, Tataria. So I'll tell you this, whatever area is going to have clear skies that day is going to be bombarded. There's going to be people coming from literally all over the country, and they're all going to be online watching the weather. And if you've got a forecast of clear skies, then watch out because everybody's coming to your town. What will be really cool is if we're able to see this Pons Brooks comet during this, the Devil Comet. I think its perihelion is April 21st, but it is getting closer to the sun by the 8th, and there's a very slight chance that it could start gassing off like others do. But I'm pretty sure they are saying that it will be visible to the naked eye. So we'll see. But if you are anxious to get to the end of the world, like I am, don't worry, there's plenty of other stuff going on out there. Like the collapse of our financial system, among other things. But if you're unaware, let me give you a little breakdown. Back during the 07-08 financial crisis, where all these huge money institutions basically collapsed the whole system because of their predatory loans, and then the government bailed them out with your money. Well, after that, they dropped interest rates down to zero. And this encouraged banks all across the country to invest in things like commercial real estate. So everybody sunk tons of money into commercial real estate. And then when the great toilet paper crisis came along, and they decided it's best that everybody just work from home or not have a job, all of these office buildings in cities across the country pretty much were cleared out. I know commercial real estate in places like San Francisco and New York were hit especially hard by this. But here's the funny thing is there was no longer a demand for this product. And generally, when you don't have a demand for something and an abundance of a supply, then the price of it falls through the floor. But that's exactly what didn't happen. Still to this day, for some reason, all of this commercial real estate is valued at what it was pre-toilet paper crisis. So they're just sitting there empty, but they're still worth buku bucks. They've been kicking the can down the road about this, and they call it unrealized losses. Which means, yeah, we know this ain't worth crap, but we're going to keep the prices high for now, and we'll just say we haven't realized the loss yet. Some banks were hit especially hard by this, and they did a lot to the overnight repo market, which is repurchase. They have to balance their books with real assets at the close of every day, and it's just a big circle jerk. But what has happened is banks all across the country invested huge sums into this commercial real estate that is now worthless. They have kept the values artificially inflated, but it's a bubble that's got to burst at some point. And it's looking like we're getting to the point that they're going to go ahead and pop it. One of the chairmen of the Fed actually said that he expects to see 20% of all banking institutions across the country collapse over this. Now, I don't know what kind of dirty tricks they have up their sleeve, but I know that they know that they can't win in November. And it has been way too quiet this year. If you go back and look at the headlines of March from 2020 and 2016, they were already stirring the pot as much as they possibly could. There were all of those mass events and people supposedly mailing things to other people. But with it as quiet as it is now, they have to have something up their sleeve. Who knows? They may just, rig the numbers again. But I got a feeling that they've got something coming that's going to be big enough that it will cancel November. And, if the purchasing power of the dollar just falls through the floor, then that may be a good enough event to distract everybody. Another thing that I see is, all of our guests that have come in from other lands and been getting all these gimme dats. Well, what would happen if all of a sudden all those gimme dats were gone and these people were out on the street with nothing? Whatever it is, it has to be something that they can blame on any traditional American. That's who they're trying to erase from the picture here. They've got everybody convinced of this whole left right paradigm. So they could say that the right wanted to cut off funding, and that's the reason you guys don't have any more gimme dats. And you guys have already seen all of the facilities. It would be absolute pandemonium if these people could no longer feed themselves, which they can't right now. They're getting gimme dats. But if that all of a sudden stops, then we're going to have major problems. Another thing is a flag event where it looks like a mass, pow pow event against our new guests. And of course, this would be done by Wheat Supreme Pizzas. So, if on the off chance that the world doesn't actually end next week, don't worry. They've probably got something planned to make you wish that it had ended. But as far as the eclipse goes, I hope you guys have sunny skies and get to see a really spectacular, cool event. Static out.